Hello everyone, today is Monday, August the 13th, 2018. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon, and I am back in Tennessee, back around the Tri-Cities area once again. For today's minisode, I would like to continue the thread that I've been doing, reviewing flopped Marvel movies that I hadn't seen yet. We've done Fant Four Stick, Wolverine Origin, and today's review is going to be The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man from 2014. Now, to help me out with this review, by popular request, I am indeed bringing in the help of Clatters the Trash Panda once again. Clatters, what are you doing, Doug Down? You're not shy. What are you doing? Stop pretending to be shy. Come on out here. Take a bow. Wave at everyone. Okay, so, what did we think of this movie? The worst crime that a superhero movie can commit is to be boring. Wouldn't you agree? Okay, so, was this movie boring? What do you think? Yeah, this movie was indeed guilty of the crime of being boring. Mostly when Peter Parker was interacting with Harry Osborn. That character was done very, very bad. Very. Oh my goodness. I am a fan of Spider-Man way back. When I was a kid, I had my room done up all in Spider-Man. I am very versed in the history of Spider-Man, at least from his conception until the mid-90s. So, the character of Harry Osborn is supposed to be a high school friend of Peter Parker. The Sam Raimi movies got that character right. This movie got it very, very wrong. And the idea that the two of them only connected after Harry's father had died, and then Peter sees it somewhere on the news and just kind of shows up at his mansion and says, "Oh, Harry, I remember you from, I think, elementary school, and I just saw your story in the news, and I just wanted to show up at your house and say that we're old friends, and my father died too, and he disappeared, and so I relate. Of course, my father disappeared 10 years ago. Yours just died. So now we're connecting. You know, Harry Osborn's character should have said, 'You want my money, don't you? Why are you just now showing up trying to make a connection with me? What is going on with this? What? It was weird. It was very, very weird. But it was just the beginning of the long, slow conversations between Peter Parker and Harry Osborn. I mean, it was just like slow walks downstairs, on a park bench, just, "I'm dying, Peter." Okay, yeah, we got that when we saw your father die in front of you, and he told you you had the same genetic problem. You were going to die the same way. But your father died in his, 50s, 60s? And you keep acting like you're going to die tomorrow? You keep lamenting that, "Oh, I wish I had an eventually. I wish I had a tomorrow, but I'm dying." Yeah, you've got one legion that showed up on your neck. Something this movie did good is they actually had a very believable relationship between Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker. They felt like a couple. That was really good. I really like that they kind of showcased Peter Parker's technical abilities, because that is something that happens in the comics a lot, where he will get his butt handed to him by a villain, then he'll go back home, pull out all of his equipment in his room, and lock the door so they can't find him, and try to figure out a way to combat that villain's power. So that's what he did with Electro, trying to figure out how to keep his web shooters from conducting electricity. That was very comic book. That was very Spider-Man. I liked that. I didn't like that he didn't figure it out himself. I don't like that he had to have Gwen Stacy show him how to do something sciencey. That's not Peter Parker. He should have been able to figure it out on his own. And they should not have done it last minute using a car battery. Now, it was quite stupid. Quite stupid. I really like that they took a chance and tried to put the death of Gwen Stacy on the big screen. And they did it in a good way that really felt very heartfelt. So those are some things that this movie did good. But the crimes of this movie do not outweigh those good parts. So, what would you say the other really bad thing was? What is it? Okay, I know you're upset about... All right. Electro was bad. Very, very bad. The villain of Electro is this one over here in blue with a hoodie. He's not even yellow. Okay, let me just tell you guys why the two of us are so upset about this character. Electro is just supposed to be like this small-time guy that just happened into this power, right? And he became a villain because he was like, oh, now I've got power, so now I can go do stuff. Now I can get what I want. Think of the villain from Megamind. That's what Electro has been normally for a long time. His original suit in the comics was really stupid with the big lightning bolt glasses and all the yellow, so I wouldn't have expected them to do that. But the Ultimate Spider-Man was the first one that redesigned Electro and made it so that his powers actually like burned his own hair off and that kind of thing. And I was able to accept that a little bit, but then they just kind of took that idea and pushed it so far. This Electro turns into electricity and travels through power lines and can fly, and his powers are so stinking sporadic. At one point he's been captured and he's in some kind of torture chamber where they keep dunking him in water and trying to find things out about him. And then Harry Osborn just kind of breaks in, shows up, gives him some kind of inspirational speech, and all of a sudden, now he can turn into electricity and just pop right out of the torture chamber. You just now figuring out you can do this? Well, you just needed an inspirational speech to figure it out? You'll be able to make it through the review. Come on, liven up. You'll be able to make it through. I know it was bad. It was bad, okay? And it wasn't just that his powers were bad. It was like the character that Jamie Foxx played before he got the powers was so cringe. He had like this terrible hair that it wouldn't have taken a toddler more time than 10 minutes to say, if you ran a comb through it a couple more times and maybe used some styling gel or cut it in places, it would look a lot better. He just kind of flopped it over on his head and never asserted himself at work, so all of his ideas got stolen and other people took credit for them. And then he gets obsessed with Spider-Man because Spider-Man, pats him on the head one day. So he starts doing all that worshiping Spider-Man and put up a collage of Spider-Man in his home. And there's like electrical appliances and light bulbs hanging everywhere because he's obsessed with electricity. And then when he gets his power, he happens to do his power from electric eels biting him. And then, oh my goodness. So he's in the middle of Times Square. He's still a good guy. He supposedly hasn't done anything wrong yet. And then notices that, oh, look, all the news vans, everybody's looking at me. There's my face up there on the big screen. And finally, I'm not invisible anymore. And then Spider-Man shows up, and all of a sudden, everybody's cheering Spider-Man on. And he's just like, oh, now I'm invisible again because Spider-Man showed up. So therefore, now I hate Spider-Man. What? What? Oh my goodness. Now, Electro is far from my favorite villain, but this was just bad. Okay, and then, so while we're wasting so much time on this terribly done villain, and wasting a lot of time on slow conversations with Harry Osborn, finally they decide we're going to give Harry Osborn his goblin powers. And so here's how they do it. Okay, so Harry Osborn is now panicked because I'm dying. I've only got a few days, even though my father lived with the same disease until his late 50s. And so he finds out that the same spider that bit Peter, they extracted the venom, and it's still down in some vaults, down in the secret areas of Oscorp. So he gets somebody to finally take him down there. He actually has to get the help of Electro to get someone at gunpoint, pretty much. Take me into the vault. And show me where you've got that venom. I know you still got it. And there was like 4 vials of it there. Okay, we saw the spiders, at some point before that, and there was just like 6 or 7 like tiny little spiders that somehow they got 4 little vials of venom out of them, and he's like, just inject it into me now, do it now. Shouldn't we try it on an animal? We haven't done human testing. You have done human testing. That's where Spider-Man came from. Just inject it in my arm now. I want it now. So he puts it in his arm, and all of a sudden, look, my skin is just healing up within seconds. You had the cure all the time. It was right here in the basement. And then his goblin powers start showing up, and he's like, he's falling on the ground. And his goblin powers, they show up as green fuzzy lines gliding around his teeth and the sides of his head, and a more aggressive attitude. And so now his eyes are like dark around his eyes, and his eyes are glowing a little bit, and he's got some green around his teeth and around his hair's sticking up. So and he goes and gets in this suit that's supposed to have like healing capabilities. So as this venom is killing him, the suit is healing him at the same time, and it's like ratcheting in around him like the Iron Man suit, just click around. And it's healing him at the same time that the venom is killing him. And somehow those two things working opposed to each other is driving his mind insane, and he just glides off and decides, now I'm going to make Spider-Man suffer because he didn't give me his blood. If I had had that blood, that blood would have made all the difference, and then it would have worked, and I wouldn't have gotten these... So he grabs Gwen Stacy, and that's when they have the whole Gwen Stacy die scene. So yeah, this movie was mishandled. The characters were mishandled. And I'll say this, Andrew Garfield does not feel like a good Peter Parker. Peter Parker is supposed to be a nerd and socially awkward. He's supposed to be like, the geeks that read comics are supposed to be able to relate to him. This feels like he is a jock, like he is a ladies' man, and he's confident and has all this charisma, and it doesn't feel like Peter Parker. So at least when he's got the suit on, he does some wisecracking. That, at least, does feel like Spider-Man. But for the most part, Andrew Garfield, I love you. I think you're a great actor, but I don't think you're a good Peter Parker. I'm sorry. So, you know what? I'm kind of glad that this ended the whole Amazing Spider-Man series, and I was happy to see Homecoming. Now, I am going to say one thing about Homecoming and this movie, is that Spider-Man has been in high school way too long. He's had 6 movies done about him, and he's still in high school. Like I said, I've been reading the comics at least from his conception up until the mid-90s, and he hasn't been in high school since, I think, the 70s. In the comic, he's been able to graduate high school, go through college, graduate college, get a job as a science teacher, done a bunch of other things, married Mary Jane, and in some timelines, he has even had a child. I think her name was Mayday, and she became Spider-Girl, and her story is fascinating as well. There could be a movie made about her. So let the kid grow up, guys. Let's see a Spider-Man where he's actually allowed to grow up. We've seen 6 movies with him. I think some of the Sam Raimi movies he had actually gotten into college, but for the most part, we've seen 6 movies with him still in high school. Let's let the poor guy grow up. I want to see a college Spider-Man. I want to see a graduated Spider-Man. I want to see other Spider-Man. I want to see the Scarlet Spider-Man, the Craven Hunter series. I want to see when he meets up with Madam Web and he grows extra arms. And there's so much Spider-Man that you can explore and use. That's fantastic stuff throughout the years. We don't need to keep focusing on when he's in high school. You don't need to do that. Please. Okay, I'm done. In conclusion, this one gets a meager 4 out of 10. Wouldn't you agree? What? No. There was a lot of people that worked hard on this. The effects were good. There were parts that were good. We're not going to give this one a 1 out of 10. Okay? It's a solid 4 out of 10. Please don't forget to smash that like button, leave comments, leave questions, leave suggestions, subscribe if you haven't already, and ring the bell icon to start receiving notifications. I love you all very much, and I will see you again in the next video. Just wanted to show this to you guys to remind you that I did promise that when I reach 200 subscribers, I would buy one of these to improve the vlog. Only 27 subscribers left to go, so get me those subscribers.